Okay, we are live. This is DJ April Showers with co-host Lady of Leisure and co-host DJ Chuck of the Truth Radio. And we
Good
are
afternoon,
going,
everyone.
and what we're going to do is we're going to finish what we started yesterday, talking about COVID. I got a lot of positive feedback. I had several people to call and say it was a great show and they
Oh,
learned
that's
some things.
nice.
And so today we're going to have DJ Chuck from The Truth and Lady Allegiant. They're going to run the show today. So, Lady Allegiant, you can start off and you and Chuck because in case I had to mute my phone or mic in case they get to talking about who's already bored and stuff. So,
Okay,
okay.
great. So I wanted to start off a little bit from yesterday when we were talking about the mysterious illnesses that came about in the Johnson and Johnson trial for the COVID vaccine. I found some articles. Unfortunately, uh, Ms. Showers is on her phone because she's in the airport, and we're unable to post them. But I wanted to read some
Well, it's
articles.
probably a way, but I don't know how to do it, and I turn
It's
it.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Because
All right.
when you're back, we can always do that. But I did
Okay.
uh want to read an article. I had one from the Time. I can't find that one, and this one is from the Huffington Post, and it says Johnson and Johnson halts COVID-19 vaccine trial after mysterious illness. Now you were asking me, DJ, what that illnesses were, and I didn't know, and I've since found out that they're neurological illnesses. Not only one person, but two people came develop this mysterious neurological problem after being injected with this vaccine during the trial.
Wow.
Now, the article says it's the second time in 2 months that a COVID 19 vaccine trial has been halted following an unexplained illness in a test subject, raising concerns about the safety of the vaccines and dampening expectations of a quick fix for the pandemic. Researchers conducting the Johnson and Johnson trial, which includes 60,000 volunteers around the world, were told Monday to pause testing of the single dose vaccination. The New Jersey based corporation is one of a handful of companies in the world that's researched the final phase of testing on people. Now, it's saying that these people developed neurological diseases, and in the first person, Johnson and Johnson claimed that the person had an illness that was undiagnosed, but they found out later in their paperwork, that they do during the testing, that that was not true. This person never had an undiagnosed illness. They developed this illness after the vaccine had been given to him. So again, I am very leery. And I also had an article on how long it takes to make a vaccine. And everyone, as I said yesterday, is saying the average is 10 years. It takes 4 years to get it to testing. They're supposed to test on animals. They have all of these steps that they have to go through developing a vaccine before it even gets to human test subjects. And all of these steps that they go through in developing this vaccine takes years, years before it even gets to a person. Yet they have developed this vaccine since March. It's November, 6 months. And they
Wow.
want to give it to people.
Wow.
And Nyria is saying, I do not trust the treatment shot yet. They ain't right. And yes, I one died so far. Was it another one? Now I don't know about the death. They're saying there were two people who developed these neurological diseases after being given the vaccine. The article doesn't say anything about either of them dying.
So they don't.
But
So they
no,
doesn't even know if anyone have died from it. Correct.
well, I don't know. I don't know if they know. It's not in the articles that I found. In the articles that I found, they don't mention anything about death. They're just saying that they had to stop uh, three of the trials. And what's very interesting to me, these are three separate trials, but all three people have the same neurological disease after being given the vaccine. So
Which
that
goes
is really interesting to me.
right. Which goes back to some of the questions we were asking and talking about yesterday, as far as what type of mysterious illness are out there.
Well, they're neurological. We don't know exactly what that is because now Johnson and Johnson had a test subject that came down with a neurological disease. Uh,
Okay.
AstraZeneca is another company that was developing a vaccine. They had a test subject come down with a neurological disease. And I find that very telling because, again, these are two separate studies in separate parts of our world,
Mhm.
well, not the world, but our country,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
have test subjects who have the same mysterious illness after being given this vaccine.
Okay. So my question is, Johnson and Johnson like
Uh,
one of the top people that doing these
At that
researches? I
time,
mean.
yeah, at that time they were, but there are several companies
Okay.
that are uh, trying to develop this vaccine. Johnson
Okay.
and Johnson was one. AstraZeneca was another one. Um,
well,
oh God, I can't recall the other companies, but there are several companies. But now
Okay.
they're saying that there's these two companies that's neither AstraZeneca or Johnson and Johnson that actually have a vaccine. One is saying they're 94.5% effective, and the other company is saying their vaccine is 95% effective. How do you know this?
Right.
mm,
I just can't imagine how a vaccine can be at all safe or effective that's developed in under 6 months. I don't even know how they got through the paperwork to get permission from the government to develop it in 6 months.
And they also have to have documentation from the public health, correct?
That I don't know. That I don't know. I
Okay.
do know there is a really lengthy process. Well, first of all, I can see how some of them did because some of them did not take funding from the government, okay?
Right.
Which really takes up a lot of
mm,
time when you're trying to get funding, for this type of research. So I
Okay.
can see how some of them bypass that, but developing a vaccine it's a
mm,
it's many years of a process. And there are many steps that they have to take during that development and testing. So if you've developed a vaccine in 6 months and it's ready to be administered to the public, how many of those steps did you skip?
That's a good
I'm
question.
doing fine. If I went out there,
Because
myself,
they're
I would
they're
have to go
telling me
all the
that
way through security to come back with them. Like to smoke.
Mute,
Yeah.
mute your phone, April. Mute your phone.
And
What I'm seeing is that the testing of animals takes 3 to 4 years before they can even test on humans. So you're telling me and again, there are so many other steps that it has to go through, you know. So again, how many steps have you skipped? You haven't tested this on anything or anyone for 2 to 3 years.
Right.
I don't see how this can possibly be safe or effective.
I agree with you. I mean, I really don't see how it could be safe if it's not working, like you said, on animals. So why would they even
Well, they
take the?
haven't. I don't even believe they tested it on animals. That's the thing.
Okay.
So you're just using human beings as lab rats, because most vaccines, most therapies, not all of them, but most of them are tested on animals to see how they react and what works. And you understand what I'm saying, and what develops
Hmm.
before it's tested on humans. They went straight to humans.
Okay.
So it's one thing to have a rat die or a monkey or whatever it is that they use in testing. It's a whole nother thing to just give this to people and find out what all of the effects are on a human. If somebody dies, that's a human being. That's a life.
That's true.
These people are getting neurological diseases, irreversible.
That's
How
someone's
do you
family member.
how do you do that to humans? And I
Like you
just can't
said,
believe the crazy people that are running and signing up for it. I really can't. Because
that's someone's life.
that is someone's life. And I do understand the seriousness of this pandemic. Excuse me. And,
Hmm.
the need to control it and contain it. But my goodness, at what cost? At what cost? I don't understand. And as I said yesterday, there isn't enough of anything in this world to make me take that vaccine. Nothing. And what's in
I,
it? Because
I, I,
in a flu shot, in a vaccine for the flu, there's a weakened strand of the flu that's
hmm.
actually in the vaccine. Are you putting a weakened strand of COVID in this vaccine?
That's a good question. And a lot of people are asking, like, what is actually in this vaccine?
Right. Nairi says she can't either. She's not going to take it, nor is her son. She'll continue to pray, wash hands like she's been doing, and wear her mat. That's right, honey. Just pray. That's what I do. I guarantee you, if you could see my purse right now, there has to be 10 pair of gloves in there, because when I'm out, I'm changing gloves every time I touch something. I'm changing gloves. I'm taking them off. I'm changing them.
Hmm.
And when that's what I do. I have a million pair of gloves. I buy them by the box. I keep gloves, extra mask, hand sanitizer in my purse, bacterial wipes in my purse, always in there, never take it out.
Right.
You know,
It.
because I'm trying to be safe. I know I have a friend who has, I've never seen a bottle of hand sanitizer this big in my life at home. And I said, "What are you doing with all this hand?" She says, "Well, I said, "No, when you're at home, wash your hands. Hand sanitizer is for when you're out and you may not be around soap and water. Soap and water is the best thing you can do.
Right.
And then people don't use hand sanitizer properly because the whole thing with that, you got to let it dry. It's got to be dry. You got to put it on until it's dry. If you're touching stuff and doing things before it dries on your hands, then you're really getting rid of it. But
Right.
I'm really concerned about this vaccine. They were saying on the news yesterday, they're trying to rush it to the public. Uh, they were filing for some type of emergency, something to get it to the public. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, that is more scary to me than this virus.
Yeah, that's very scary, and it's also like
Are
you
you
said,
laughing?
it's best to have multiple
I
masks.
saw the screen, so
It is, especially if they're disposable masks, because I was taught by my husband that because he was notorious with his
Okay.
mask, and in
Okay.
the office he changed them, he threw them away every 2 hours. I said, why you? He says, look, the longest you're supposed to wear this thing is 4 hours, and
Mm,
that's if you're just out and about. I'm seeing 2, 3 patients, sometimes 4 in an hour. I can't be wearing the same mask. And I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, I switch them out. If I'm out a long time, it's gone. I'm throwing it away and I'm putting on another one.
right. Yeah. So that's important
It's
to change.
really important. And I'm 62 years old. I'm trying to live as long as God will let me. I had some health issues as well that would make me more susceptible to contracting COVID.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to be as careful as I can. I'm not freaked out by it. A lot of people get freaked out by all the restrictions and the things that they feel they have to do. It doesn't freak me out. And, it's just hopefully a temporary way of life.
Right. I mean, it's sad that we have to live like this in
Oh,
this
Nigel,
time.
I do have hand sanitizer in my purse, baby. Yes, of course. Absolutely. Because when I take my gloves off and get back in the car, I use the hand sanitizer. Oh yeah, I keep hand sanitizer. Yes. I
What do
don't
what do
I
you
don't only rely on the gloves.
do you feel like there should be more statewide restrictions with this COVID pandemic?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you feel like there should be more statewide restrictions with this COVID-19 pandemic?
Absolutely. I think it should be a national restriction. I think it should be the entire country. I think the president needs to shut everything and everyone down simultaneously because, one state being locked down and another state not being locked down, and people are traveling back and forth. It does no good. It does no good. So
Right.
I think everybody needs to be locked down for at least 6 months.
Like you mentioned yesterday, how are people going to monitor people traveling from state to state? That's
Exactly.
impossible. That's impossible.
It really is. And who is going somewhere staying for 2 weeks? Well, if you come here, you're going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Who goes somewhere and stays for 2 weeks? I don't stay 2 weeks in Disney World when I take the kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
People don't normally do not travel and stay somewhere for 2 weeks. I'm going on vacation. I'm a quarantine for 2 weeks. No,
No,
I'm
that's not
going
the
to
purpose.
go and enjoy myself.
That's exactly. That's not the purpose of people taking a vacation to be on quarantine.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
that's just common sense. We don't we don't work 100 days in a year and take your vacation in July to quarantine and sit down for 14 days.
Exactly.
That's not, that's not life,
Don't see anybody. Well, what did I go somewhere for?
right?
I may as well have stayed home. If I can't
Exactly,
go anywhere and see anybody and enjoy myself, why go?
right. If you're paying $300 for a flight, why should you have to stay in your hotel room for 14 days?
I wouldn't care if I paid $59 for a flight. When I go somewhere, I go to enjoy myself. I don't care. You know,
You absolutely, you absolutely correct.
you know, right
I'm
after
not.
my
Uh,
daughter, I think I told you guys, my daughter had COVID in the
okay.
first wave. They quarantined her. They kept her in the hospital a few days. They quarantined her for 21 days. On day 22, she was like, "Mom, we're going to Florida." I'm like, "Are you crazy?" And Florida at that time, they were saying, "Don't go to Florida."
Right.
I'm like, "Are you nuts? You just," she's like, "Look, my kids are stir crazy. They're ready to, go somewhere. We can't do anything here. I'm going to get a nice private place." We got there. These people literally drained the pool and sterilized it while we were there. And they told us, they said, "Well, we do that, but we're going to wait till you get here so that we do that." And it was really nice, but I didn't want to be there. I was scared at that point. I was.
Yeah. Miami was a top hotspot at one time.
And that's the time that she had to go. Right. That's the time that she had to go. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm done. And I don't like Miami anyway. It's
Okay.
just I don't like Miami. I'd much rather be, you know, in a little suburb or something, you know what I'm saying? Where
Hmm.
it's not so many people, because so much goes on in Miami. You go to Miami, you see everybody you know in the hood, you know?
But my thing is, if the Trump administration knew this at that time, like you mentioned before, millions, multiple of times, why didn't they just do a whole statewide shutdown?
I don't know why they didn't do that, because I know in the beginning when he was talking about the travel ban into the US, Democrats were saying, "Oh, you're racist, you can't do that," because we hadn't had the devastation of COVID that we quickly saw after, immediately after that,
Okay.
you know. But had I been Trump, I wouldn't have cared what they said. I'd have shut it down. They said, and then when he did shut it down, then they said, "Oh, well, you got to let the people from the United States come back." No, if you over there, you stay there.
Right. I mean, being the president of the United States, he has the right
Are y'all
and the
going to Little
power.
Rock?
He has the right and the power
Me
to say
too.
that.
Been here, so you got this
Well,
long
to an
well. I'm
extent,
never
but if you
gonna
have
give away
Congress,
straight again. This too much.
April, mute
I,
your phone.
it's cheaper.
Mute,
It's because
mute.
it's expensive to fly into Little Rock. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, this has been
I think she
a
thinks
day
she's
to
muted.
for me.
We're gonna try to get past that.
So I was supposed to leave at 8 o'clock this morning. When I made my reservation, you know,
April,
this
mute your mic.
oh,
Mute your mic.
okay. Uh, yeah,
Mute your
okay,
mic. Okay, thank you.
okay. Thank you.
Uh, we apologize for that. As I said before, April is in the airport. She has a layover. Um, so yeah, I'm sure she thought her mic was muted. But when you get a lot of pushback from Congress, there are some things that um, he can do without congressional approval, and there are some
Okay.
things that he can't. So when you get that pushback, especially from your own party, I personally wouldn't care if I were president. Push as hard as you want. I'm going to keep my country safe.
Right.
Period. You know?
So would that be part of executive signing certain executive orders?
Yeah, well, he could use his executive powers for certain things, but then, when it comes to things like that, they're very challengeable
Right.
because you're getting into people's human rights now. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So, but I would have pulled it. I mean, our governor here in Illinois has been sued so many times over his COVID practices. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because each governor in every state, they only get like two or three emergency orders like this, and they're only supposed to be for 30 days. And when we first started to get COVID really bad, he had us on lockdown for 90 days, and
Right.
people were suing him left and right. You know, I personally didn't care, you know, because like I said, before we got our first case in Chicago, I was wearing a mask.
Okay.
Because again, I believe I told you guys, I was married to a doctor for a couple of decades. I worked
Okay.
in his office for a couple of decades. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I've seen things that they tell you are not medically possible. So there
Okay.
are certain things that people are not going to make me believe. Scientists, doctors, I don't care who it is, because he's taught me better, I've seen better, I know better. So there are certain things you just cannot make me believe, and you're never going to make me believe that this vaccine is safe or effective.
Yeah, because I honestly didn't find out how serious this pandemic was until the month of March, and I was still going by my normal life work routine.
A lot of people were. A lot of people were. Even in March, people were going on with their normal life and routine. But as soon as someone sent me something and they said, "Did you see all these people in China are dying? They've got, this disease from eating bats," because
Okay.
that's where it comes from, allegedly. I haven't really researched that, but
Mhm.
that's what they're saying. Uh, and I said, no. And I, went on Google and I looked it up and I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because people travel back and forth from China to here. My
Yeah.
niece was in China teaching and came back, and I told her, don't come over here. Do not come
Right.
over here. And that was back in, well, actually, it was the end of February. So I
Okay.
just saw my niece, since she's been back from China, the end of October, when we had a little party for my granddaughter.
Okay.
And she came over and she was like, "Can I come over now?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, you can come over now. It's 6 months later. You can, you know." But nobody comes to my home. That's the first time I saw my niece. Nobody comes here. My daughter comes, only two of my grandchildren,
Mhm.
and I disinfect them at the door. Close your eyes and mouth. I'm spraying you down.
Yeah. But like I said, I didn't find out how serious this was until like the end of February, beginning of March, because of my job. I mean, I work for the park district, so a lot of my programs involve children.
Right,
So
right.
that's when they start telling us to take the necessary protocols with this pandemic.
Yeah, as soon as I found out, when I researched it and I read about it, I started to take precaution at that time
Okay.
because I knew it would only be a matter of time before it hit the United States.
Right.
you know, because people travel. There are so many Americans in China, you would not believe it.
Okay.
And it's the same in Russia. You would be shocked to see all the black people in Russia.
So let me ask you this question, Lady Lu. When they found out that when they found out about the first case that actually hit the United States, why was it that nobody warned us?
Well, according to Trump, he said that he downplayed it because he didn't want everyone to panic.
Right?
And
He stated that
people
he didn't want to put the American people
in
in
a
panic
panic.
mode.
Yeah. And I understand that. But because everybody hates Trump, they attack that. But presidents do that all the time. It just so happened that he downplayed a pandemic that you couldn't hide. You understand what I'm saying? When other
Right?
presidents downplay things that they get under control while they're downplaying it, so you never know how serious it really was.
I don't even
But
think he knew how. I don't honestly don't think he knew how serious it really was.
he knew how serious it was. He knew. There
Okay,
was no way. He has intelligence all over the world. There is no way he didn't know. He knew.
that's very true.
He knew. Now, do I really believe that he didn't say how serious it was because he didn't want to panic the American people? I halfway believe that. But I also halfway believe that he didn't think it was that serious, even though he's looking at all of these deaths and, you know, all of these
Hmm.
overwhelmed hospitals and ICUs. I still believe he was one of these people who did not take it that seriously.
Okay.
Because even when he got coronavirus, you know, he was saying he was fine, it was no big deal.
Hmm.
Then after he got out of the hospital, then he said, he told how very ill that he really was.
Okay.
But still, he come out, he wore a mask one time, still didn't wear a mask.
Knowing what we know now, and all that the resources and articles that you have read,
Hmm.
do you still feel like he could have set a travel restriction way back in February?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have stuck. I don't know if he wouldn't have gotten, great pushback from it and probably, some legal battles behind it. But I
Okay.
do think he could have.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
no, not
listen,
to be cutting you up. Like no travel from
from
other
anywhere,
countries from anywhere. Period. Right.
from anywhere, you cannot come here, period. And,
Right.
I tweet my mayor about that all the time
Hmm.
because we're very close to Wisconsin. We're very close to Indiana.
Okay.
Wisconsin has the highest COVID rate that we know of. They go
Wow.
up, 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 and it's been for months now.
Hmm.
And she has not stopped people from coming from Wisconsin here. She's just saying, well, if you come here from Wisconsin, you have to quarantine for 14 days. Well, who's doing that? Nobody's doing that. So
Right.
I would have shut down uh the interstate. They wouldn't have been able to come in here by
Okay.
car, you know. They wouldn't have been able to come here by bus. They wouldn't have been able to come here by railway. They would not have been able to come here.
So basically, just shut everything.
I would
travel.
have shut them down. I would have shut down all of their travel. So if you work here, then you need to find some place here to stay while you go to work.
Okay.
I would have stopped it because we were doing very well with COVID in Chicago.
Yes, we were.
We were doing very well.
People were wearing their masks and everything.
Yes, people were wearing a mask. I was so happy to see. I saw, of course, I saw children without them, but I saw a lot of parents who had their
Okay.
children in masks. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
People were social distancing. They
There
were
was a lot of
really, they were really doing it.
there was a lot of social distancing. Different
Oh,
companies were taking the actual uh, protocol
yes, yes, they were.
to
I
to
remember
put,
walking into a Family Dollar, and it's a little hood Family Dollar,
okay.
and they had put up the partitions. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
this was long before it got really, really bad. And I thought, oh wow, I thought it was so
Yeah.
cool, because
Yeah.
they're
My
protecting their workers, they're protecting, the public.
yeah.
And it was really nice to see. But we were doing really well, and now, we're doing very poorly.
Yeah.
We're up to a thousand cases a day now, more
My
than we
job
had in the beginning.
my
I'm
job
sorry, go ahead.
actually my job actually did a 3 week cleaning program to where we shut down all the programs for 3 weeks, and the only thing we were doing was having certain employees come in to clean.
Yeah. And
Wiping,
that should be done everywhere. Now, I tell
yeah,
you what I find very strange, and I think it's, again, all about financing. It's all about money. We have the highest cases in Chicago than we have ever seen. It's well over 1,000 a day now for well over a week.
okay.
But yet they're saying it is safe to send children back to school. How the hell is that? How is
Yes, how
it
can
safe to send children back to school when we have more cases than we've ever had before? And it's not going down. We're up over 10.5% when we were down to 2 something. So how is it safe for you to send children back to school when we're in the highest numbers we've ever had, to send children back to school, to send teachers back to school, you know, send
right.
cafeteria workers back to school, send
What,
janitors back to school in the highest
no,
numbers we've ever had? How can that possibly be safe?
right? They send school nurses back to school.
The
Well, back,
entire staff.
well, back to their jobs. I'm sorry.
So now
How,
that means if you're sending the kids back to school, now you got to have bus drivers. So now all of these kids that take the bus are on the school bus,
hmm
which means you got to have bus attendants. I think it's ludicrous. I think it's absolutely ludicrous.
right? Then you have 10 to what? Let's say 20 children in one classroom.
You got in Chicago, you've got 35 to 40 children in a classroom.
Right.
Chicago public schools have always been seriously overcrowded. But yeah, you
But
have anywhere from 30 to 45 children in a classroom in
yeah,
elementary school.
CPS classrooms have always been overcrowded.
Always, always been overcrowded. So I don't understand how they're going to send these kids back safely. A lot of these schools are very old.
Yes, they
A
are.
lot of them that. You're in Chicago, that. A lot of them need
Yes, they are.
upgrades. So I don't understand, if you don't have the money to clean a floor, how do you have the money to sterilize all of these classrooms and desks and walls and floors and windows and bathrooms every single day.
Right.
I don't see it being a safe environment, especially for the staff, not so much the children, because children, even though there are some who've had COVID, children aren't, getting sick and dying from COVID like adults are. So
Right.
again, with the children, it's that, they're carriers, they're passing it along. They
Right.
may pick it up from a family member that don't even know that they have it.
That's true.
And, that's the whole point of the mask wearing. It's to protect the people that you go home to, because you could contract it and be completely asystemic and then go home and kill your mama. You know what I mean? Or your grandmother,
Right. Right. Well, aunt, uncle.
anybody, you know, someone who would be more susceptible to COVID than the average person.
Right. So that's
You
why I
know,
can't see why would they want to send the children back to school.
because they don't want to pay the teachers and all the other staff members for being off. That's all that is. And they want to secure the funding that they have to keep the schools open. Because if the schools aren't open, they
Hmm.
lose a lot of that funding. I think it's all about the damn money.
So what happened to that funding when the schools are closed?
Well, if they're closed indefinitely, as they have been, that funding is redirected to other sources.
Okay.
So when schools open now, they don't have, say for instance, you have an operational budget, right?
Right.
But you're not operating. So that budget is taken after a certain amount of time. It's not immediate, but that budget is taken and it's redirected to another source that you may be using, say for instance, sanitation,
Hmm.
sanitizing the schools and things like that.
Okay.
So that money is directed, to another source. Now you don't have that operational budget anymore.
Right.
So you can't operate. If you go back to school, you can't operate. So I think what they're trying to do, they're simply trying to save their funding,
Okay.
because
That might.
I can't see how, if it wasn't safe for them to go to school when we only had 20,000 cases a day, if you closed all the schools and sent the children home and sent everyone home from CPS when we had 20,000 cases a day, saying that it was not safe, how do you tell me now that we have over 100,000 cases a day for the past 11 consecutive days?
Hey.
We've had over 100,000 cases. How do you tell me that it's safe for them to go to school with over 100,000 cases a day, but it wasn't safe enough to keep them in school with only 20,000 a day?
It can be safe.
It can't possibly be safe.
So, like you said, it has to be about the funding.
I believe it's about the funding. That's just my personal belief. I don't have any proof of that. That's just what I believe. Because in
Hmm.
Chicago, it's always about the money.
Right.
Everything in Chicago is about the money.
Everything in Chicago is about money. From
Everything.
politics, everything.
Absolutely. Do you know we are Chicago? And somebody said this to me. and I couldn't deny it, so I had to research it.
Okay.
Our politicians in Chicago, Chicago politics is the number one corrupt political system in the country.
Mhm.
Number one in corruption in the country. Our politicians
We number
in the
one.
country, number one.
You're absolutely correct. We number one.
We're number one.
We number one.
That is terrible.
I mean,
You know,
I grew up on the west side of Chicago. I now reside in Oak Park, but you're right. We're number one in corruption and
and
politics.
I live both. I didn't grow up on the west side of Chicago, but when I went away to college, my mom moved to the west side of Chicago.
Okay.
And when I came home to go to school here, at home, I stayed in North Austin with my mom, and I too moved to Oak Park
Okay.
uh, for many many years, um, and then back to North Austin, and then back to where I was originally from, where I raised my children.
Okay.
But yeah, it's crazy,
Yeah.
and people, especially black people, I
Mhm.
just don't understand this diehard connection that they have with the Democratic Party. I just don't understand it in this city anyway,
Okay. Okay.
because nothing's gotten better.
Mhm.
Everything gets worse. You still have no jobs. You still have five, six, 700 murders every year that go unsolved.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? You still got police killing black people.
Yeah.
You still got the blue code of honor. You still
Right.
got police sitting on stands swearing to lies, putting people in jail. You still got them putting drugs on innocent people. You still got them shooting them in the back, putting
Mhm.
throwaways on them. All of this is still going on.
And you still have the code of silence
That's what I'm
inside,
saying. That's what I'm
inside,
saying.
inside,
Exactly.
inside the Chicago Police Department.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the blue code of conduct. That's that great code of silence, which is why I had originally said there is no good cop. And I say that not saying that they're all out here killing and planting drugs, because I know better than that.
Uh
What
huh.
I mean when I say that is you're guilty by inaction. If you know your partner just planted some drugs on somebody and you stay silent and you help him write that phony ass report, or you co-sign your name on that phony ass report, you're just as guilty as he is, because you
That's
are
very true.
allowing it. You're allowing it.
That's
You
true.
know, listen, I have my mother was one of the first black female Chicago police officers in Chicago.
Okay.
She left Chicago Police Department. She went to the sheriff's office, okay?
Okay.
My brother is a Chicago police officer. My entire family is in law enforcement in one form or another,
Mhm.
okay? From CPD to FBI.
Uh huh.
So I don't have a disrespect for law enforcement at all, but I'm
Mhm.
not blind. I know what goes on.
Right.
And my brother and I argue all the time about that issue. And
Okay.
he says, well, when we see those, we don't be around. That doesn't help. What does that
Mhm.
help? You know what they're doing, so you stay away from them and let them do it.
Right.
At some point, even though you know you're gonna lose your job, Somebody has to take a stand and stand up for what's right.
That's true. Somebody has to take a stand.
Somebody has to take a stand. And I implore him all the time, get your friends, get them together, have meetings. If you all stand as a unit, they're not going to fire 50 of y'all. They'll fire
Right.
one or two. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you, and then what they really need to do is to get rid of that damn union, that police association. They are the worst.
So you
They
feel
are the,
like the police union should be eliminated?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I
Okay.
do. And my mother is probably rolling over in her grave right now because she was a diehard union supporter. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Um, when she was a police officer, was the president of the police association for a few years,
Okay.
but diehard union supporter across the board for everybody.
Mhm.
So she would probably cut my tongue out to hear me say that because I was raised to support and believe in union workers.
Okay.
I just feel like that, again, they're very corrupt now. They're all about
Mhm.
money.
Okay.
Um, it's all about money and power. And there was a time when unions were needed, when we didn't have labor laws. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And unions were needed. I don't think they're, not that they don't serve a purpose, because they do. I just don't think that they are as needed as they were 30, 40 years ago.
Okay.
I just don't think that they are. You
So
have,
you
go ahead.
so you saying certain things within the Chicago Police Department, within their union, should be changed.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. You know, their bargaining agreement needs to be stripped down and totally reworked. It really does.
Okay.
I think that officers should be held at a higher standard when it comes to committing a crime than a civilian, because you
Which
are trained and paid to serve and protect and uphold the law. So when you, who represent all of that,
uh
breaks the law, I
hmm
think you should be held to a higher punishment.
because their integrity says to serve and protect.
Absolutely.
Are they doing that?
Do you think they're doing that? I don't.
At
Listen,
at some point, at some point, and I'm being honest, at
mhm,
some point, I really don't think they are.
I don't believe that they are. You know what's gone, what I don't see anymore at all? I
Hmm.
remember many years ago, and you wouldn't remember this because you probably weren't born, or you may remember it, or remember your parents or someone speaking of it.
Okay.
Whatever happened to crime prevention? You don't even see the police until after a crime has been committed. We had beat cops that walked a beat. You understand? They knew everybody on the
Yeah.
block, they knew everybody in the
Yeah.
neighborhood, they knew who
Yeah.
was supposed to be where, they
Yeah.
knew they knew when it was a suspicious person. You understand?
That that was, and you absolutely correct. What happened to the crime prevention? in the beat
There
shop
is
because I remember.
there is no such thing.
Yeah.
Now they just respond to a crime.
Right.
You understand? There is no prevention. I
I. Re-
remember,
mhm.
and this was just about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
I got a call from my neighbor,
Uh huh.
and he said, there is a guy trying to break into your garage. So I immediately, because I had cameras, I immediately went on my phone and looked
Okay.
at my camera. Now, this is the scary part. As he's trying to break into the door, my daughter is pulling into the garage.
Okay.
So I immediately called her phone. And when he heard the phone ringing from inside the garage, he jumped the gate and left. I called the police. I show him this man on camera. And you know what they said to me?
What?
If he comes back, give us a call. What do you mean? You're not going looking for him? He right here. I mean, there was nothing you could not see about this man. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I can freeze frame it and get you a photo if you need me to. You
So
think
they
they
didn't even.
cared? Wouldn't it,
So
wouldn't
they
take
didn't even take
wouldn't take
the
a police
initiative.
report? No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you see him again, give us a call. How about if I see him again, you got him in a damn lineup? How about that?
Right. So they didn't even
So
take the initiative of the fact that he was trying to break in your house.
not at all. Not that he was on camera, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, this was a person that you could have sought and found.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And
So
he
like
left,
you.
he jumped my fence and went right across the alley and scaled somebody else's fence and was breaking into their home. They weren't home. I wasn't home either. Thank goodness
Okay.
for neighbors, you know,
But they still should have listened to see what was going
or
on.
pretended to look for the man.
But
So I
like you
ended
said.
up going to the
Uh-huh.
commander, taking my video.
Okay.
And he said to me, he says, well, what do you want us to do? How about your damn job? What do
Right.
you
Do your
mean, what do
job.
I want you to do? How about
Do your
your
job.
job? Now, if I'd have shot the shit out of him, which would have happened had I been home, you would have been trying to arrest me because he wasn't in my house.
Right.
So you're telling me I gotta let a criminal get in my house before I can shoot him? No, he dead on sight. I'm sorry.
I absolutely agree with you. I
My
absolutely agree.
daughter had literally pulled into the garage with my grandbaby, and he was
Hmm.
still trying to pry the door open. He didn't even hear the car because he was so busy trying to pry this door open. And when I called her phone and he heard the phone ring, then he
Hmm.
left. But just imagine had that not scared him off.
Right.
He would have been
That's a good point.
locked in a garage with my daughter and my grandbaby.
That's a good point. Like you
And
said,
the
police
and the
officers should be
commander, what do you want me to do?
right. Like you said, police officers should be held to the highest standard,
I
which
believe that
lead
they
to
should be.
a question for me, for you.
Hmm.
If an officer wrongly shoots and kills an innocent person, should they have should they have some type of psychological testing while they
You
off
know,
duty?
I think that they should have that. See, I think that should be something that is ongoing. I think they should have that, you know, a few times a year on the job. You understand what
Okay.
I'm saying? I think
Uh-huh.
that's something that should be ongoing because there is no doubt that, especially any police officer, but especially in Chicago,
Okay.
that is a lot of stress that they, that they're under.
Yeah.
Um, it's an extremely difficult job. I'm never going to say anything other than that, you know? They see things that some of us couldn't even imagine. So I
Yeah.
think that psychological support and testing is something that should be ongoing.
Okay.
It shouldn't wait until they've shot someone. You understand? But of course, I think that they should, even if they haven't killed anyone. Because, there are officers who've been on the force for many years that have never had to discharge their firearm.
That's true.
And,
That's very true.
it is, regardless of whether you wear a uniform or not, you are still a human being.
Yeah. And I agree with you as far as it should be ongoing.
It should be ongoing. You know, they, I believe they all need help in dealing with just the day to day things that they do on the job and witness on the job every day.
But like you said, they see stuff that we could never imagine
Exactly.
and then
And
have to
when
go home,
you got to go home,
right,
you got to try to, compartmentalize all of this. How do you do that?
and have a balance with their family
Right.
of not
How do you do that?
right,
Or how do you be a good cop among bad cops and be a good cop among criminals who you see constantly get off of charges? You understand?
yeah,
Because that takes a toll on you too. Because what am I doing this for? I bring him in, you let him go.
that's true.
So I see
Yeah.
many sides of it.
Hmm.
I'm not anti police at all.
Okay.
But
Now,
at this point, our police officers, Chicago Police Department has just gone rogue.
okay. Now, getting back to the topic of the COVID pandemic,
Hmm.
um, I I particularly myself asked the question. I'm not a parent, but I have a question that a lot of parents will probably ask. What are some of the
Right.
protocols? What are some of the protocols they should be taking of sending their children back to school in January?
Listen, there are parents who really have no choice. You
Uh huh.
know, um, I think that that's an excellent question, and I don't even really know how to answer. I think that there should be a hybrid model where parents who want to send their children can, but parents
Hmm.
who don't feel safe sending their children, they should have a better homeschool model set up through CPS for those children to learn from home.
Okay.
I think that's what they should have been doing all the time the school has been closed. Because, when schools first closed, getting them online was an absolute mess. Half the kids didn't even show up.
Right.
Um, I think during all of these months, CPS should have been preparing a better, more effective, more interactive homeschool model for those children.
Uh,
As far as parents and the protocols that should be taken in the school, I think that's something that the parents in that school need to come together and agree upon and
okay.
ask the schools, because what's important to some parents aren't important to other parents. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think they need to go to their school and find out, how are you going to keep our children safe? How are you going to stay safe?
Right.
You know, they need to know the systems that are in place for their children. How are they going to learn? How far apart are they going to be? How can you can't space 35 to 40 children 6 feet apart in a classroom?
No, you can't. It's not that much space in the classroom
It,
as it
it
is.
is not exactly, you know. So it's really a difficult thing. I am so happy I do not have a child in school today. I told my daughter, I don't know how you do it.
Hmm.
I would be going nuts. And I'm not
Yeah.
at all, I don't feel safe at all with my grandchildren going back to school. Now,
Yeah.
my younger granddaughter, she goes back in January, but she doesn't
Okay.
go to a public school.
Okay.
So they have very small class sizes anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's only like 10
Hmm.
people in her class.
Okay.
And they're cutting that down to six. And they were even saying five. They'll have five come to class 2 days a week, and then the other five come to class 2 days a week.
Hmm.
And the other 3 days, they're learning from home. And they
Yeah.
have a great homeschool model. She just got her grades yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. That's what the Oak Park school district is doing out here. Like they only have a certain number of children in the
Right,
classroom.
right. Yeah, because see, my kids went to school in Oak Park.
Okay.
They went to Robert Frost Elementary and Oak Park River Forest High School.
Okay.
Yeah,
My nieces and nephews graduated from Oak Park with a Forest High School.
and they have always had a great school system.
Yeah.
They have always had a great school system.
They have taken this pandemic very, very seriously.
Well, because they're a township, so they're pretty much their own city,
Right.
and they don't have to. They can make their own laws and guidelines and things like that
Okay.
because they're their own township.
Hmm.
They have their own mayors and all of that.
Now, by them being a township, do they get government funding?
They get some federal funding, yes, but
Okay.
they don't get like state funding and city funding. All of that comes from, however their revenue is in their township, because
Okay.
they have their own police department, you
Right.
know,
Right. Right.
they have their own everything.
Okay.
So, their revenue is generated from the people in their communities
So they
for
have
the
their
most
own.
part. They have
So they
their
have
own,
their own budget, correct?
budget, their own taxes, everything.
Okay.
And
Which
that's,
makes a bit, which makes a big difference sometimes.
it makes a major difference because, regardless of Oak Park is a very affluent little suburb.
Hmm.
It's not as affluent as it used to be,
Right,
but
right. I agree with that.
it's
Yeah,
of course not. Nothing is,
yeah.
but it's a
Right,
very affluent, little place. Especially North Oak Park is still very very nice,
right.
and people pay their taxes. Their homes
Very
are valuable. You understand?
valuable and very, very high tax.
Yeah, they have very high taxes because again, they generate their own revenue.
Right.
So their tax dollars pays for their schools, it pays for their roads. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
so
I definitely
their
understand where
taxes,
you're going.
yeah, their taxes are really high. They always have been. Ooh, I'm like, no, can't buy anything here. No, the taxes cost more than the house. The taxes are more than your mortgage. Seriously, the taxes are more than your mortgage every month.
That's
It's
true.
like, and
But
they don't have alleys, so their sewage system is oh we, it is something to marvel. It really is.
they have an excellent sewer system.
They do. They
And
really do.
like you said, all the beautiful homes. And there's probably on the north side of Oak Park, there's probably 2 or 3 schools every 3 blocks.
Hmm. Yeah, they don't have overcrowded schools
Yeah.
or underfunded schools
Right.
or raggedy streets. You know
Potholes, potholes and everything.
exactly. They don't have any of that.
Yeah.
And they have everything in their little downtown.
Hmm. Like you say, it's a township.
It's a township, and they are totally, almost completely self-sufficient.
Everybody take care of and look out for each other.
Exactly. Exactly. Even if you're do you know if you're born in Oak Park, you know how everybody goes downtown and gets their birth certificate or whatever. When you're born in
Hmm.
Oak Park, you don't have a birth certificate downtown.
Well, I didn't
You
even
have
know
to
that.
go. Oh yeah, because my youngest was born there. I told you I lived there for many years.
Right.
Yeah, you have to go to the town hall and get your kid's birth certificate because they were born in Oak Park.
If you were actually born in Oak Park.
Yeah, you go to the town hall and get your kid's birth certificate. You can't go
That's
downtown and get their birth certificate because they weren't born in the city. And that was so weird to me.
that's something new I just learned.
Hmm. Yep, you got to go to the town hall and get your kid's birth certificate.
Thanks for that information because I did not know
Yes, I didn't know it either till I had a kid there.
that.
I lived there many years. I had no idea.
Okay.
I had no idea. I lived there many, many years, and I had no idea until I had my youngest one. And
Okay.
I worked downtown at that time. I was working for the county, and
Hmm.
I went downstairs and went over to get my baby's birth certificate, and they were like, "We don't have her birth." I said, "What do you mean?" They were, "Well, she was born in Oak Park. You got to go." I'm like, "Really?" I didn't know that either. I've been in Oak
Right.
Park for years. I had no clue.
Yeah. So, do anybody in the chat have any questions?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys in the chat
Now,
while
I
we're
hope
up here just talking
if
away.
yeah. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. B Farrell. Do you have any questions?
B, hi B. See, I can't see the people in the chat. Hi B, we miss you.
Yes, I'm actually reading some of the chats from the YouTube.
Oh, okay, because she's through the radio station. Okay,
Yes. I'm not sure if they have any questions or just listening in.
April, are you with us, hon? Can you come off mute? Can you join us? Wait a minute. It's she should be getting her adjoining flight.
Yeah,
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 she may ask.
yeah. What I was gonna say is, most of the people that I've talked to, 'cause I will strike up some conversations with some strangers. I have no problems talking to people, and they think it's stupid for them to be shutting down, uh, like Chicago gonna do this. If the whole country not gonna do it, they think it's pointless.
It
You
is.
have to
I
stop
agree.
all movement,
I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree
and
with that.
so
They
people are
shut down the
not
damn
going to
country
stop.
already.
Yeah, and so and like they said, until they shut the entire country down, they're going to keep going because then why are they being forced? Well, you're putting all these guidelines on us, but hell, we don't know who coming into the neighborhoods, who's in the grocery stores and everything.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
it's they think it's stupid, stupid, and so and I can say I really do agree with them because as long as everybody can go everywhere, it does no good.
So you were saying that there'll be a stoppage in the movement?
They it's pointless.
She's
It's
saying they
pointless.
should shut down the entire country.
They have to shut
Okay.
down the entire country.
And
Okay.
I think
If
Biden
they,
will do that. I think Biden will do that when
yeah,
he takes
yeah,
office. I think he will. I hope that he
yeah,
will. I'm pretty sure
yeah,
that he will make some type of mandates for the entire country,
yeah, yeah.
even
The
if he
entire
doesn't shut
country's
it
gonna
down.
have to go
Do you
on
all
lockdown
do you all
at
feel like it
the
will
same
be
time.
a 3 to 6 month mandate shutdown?
Yeah,
I think it should be at least a 6 month shutdown. I do. At least 6 months.
Okay.
Because we've been dealing with this now 6, 7 months already,
Yeah.
you know,
We're
spiking,
actually
going down, spiking, going down. So
we're
I
actually
think that it should be at least a 6 month shutdown.
we're
And
actually
the
a month.
problem with that would be the government is going to have to get up off all our tax dollars and take care of everybody.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That's what's going to have to
but
happen.
like they say, they're gonna keep moving, and because every big city, no matter where you live at, has another surrounding state that's close. All states have a surrounding state that's close,
Right.
like
Right.
Chicago.
Right,
We
right,
got
right,
Wisconsin, Indiana.
Indiana,
So
right.
as long as those
right.
people are able to go in and out of our cities, it does no good.
I agree with that. I agree with that
That's a good
100%. I
that's
really
a good
do.
point. That's a good point, April.
It, it,
I
it
agree
does
with that
no good.
100%.
So they're like you know like she's crazy. I mean, they think she's a good mayor. They think
Hmm.
what she's doing, but you can't want Chicago to do this, and you got surrounding states that are not in compliance.
Well, see, here's
Or
the thing. She is only the mayor of Chicago. She can't
right,
tell another city or another state what to do. Her job is to keep the people in her city safe. You
and
know,
She
that's fine.
and she has
But
she
what
has
they're
been doing that to the best of
no,
her ability.
no. No, the
And I
people.
don't think she's been doing it to the best of her ability. I think she did a great
No,
job in the
no.
very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
The
again,
people
she
say
could have shut
nobody
off
should be
travel.
able. Yeah,
She could have shut off
should
travel
nobody
from
be able to come
Wisconsin and
into
Indiana
Chicago?
so nobody could come into Chicago.
Yeah,
She could do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
You
what
know,
they say.
she
As
can get
long
with
as
our
people,
governor and shut down that interstate, shut down the railways, shut down the bus service here. They could do that.
yeah, yeah,
She didn't have no problem. Look, when they were rioting, she didn't have no problem shutting down transportation, did she?
No,
lifting
she
up
didn't.
bridges,
They had it shut down in an hour. Am I lying?
lifting.
You're
No, hey,
you're right.
check this
You're
out.
right.
They had
They
it shut
lift,
down in an hour.
lift,
They had people stranded.
lifting
You
up
can't get on
bridges
the
and
train and go
everything.
nowhere. Right.
Yeah. They lifted up all them bridges.
They had all the bridges up so people couldn't drive down there. So now I know she could do it, didn't she?
Yeah. Yeah.
DJ Chuck, you know it's true.
It's true. It's true.
Okay.
Like,
So
lady of illusion. I'm laughing. I'm laughing.
because
Yeah.
Not in the joke. Not in the joke way. I'm laughing because I was down in that area during that time.
me too. Me too.
That's why I'm
And we were
laughing.
scrambling. We were scrambling. We had to take Chicago Avenue out. Okay.
Uh huh.
We had to take Chicago Avenue out. Yeah, she lifted the bridges. She shut down the trains and the but now most
Yeah.
everybody goes downtown by train and bus because parking
Yeah.
is so expensive,
She,
and they
she,
stop parking
'Cause
on a
you
lot
couldn't
of the
even,
streets.
yeah, you
yeah.
know,
She
they
shut.
hadn't
So
even stopped the Metro train service. They
She
stopped
shut
all the
down
commuter
all.
trains from going to Chicago.
Yeah. She shut down
yes,
all.
she
She
did.
Until
shut down the entire. She
so,
shut down the
so,
entire transportation.
Yes, yes, she did. Metro, all of that. She shut it all down. So you're gonna
so
tell
what people
me
are
you
saying,
can't shut down the
yeah,
interstate? Yeah, sure you can. Sure
yeah,
you can.
She can.
yeah.
I agree.
So
She
what the
can.
people are saying is until people, if you're going to protect the people, then don't allow anybody in Chicago.
I agree with that. And I say that to her
Because
all the time on Twitter.
they're still,
Forget
they're
about this
still,
quarantine.
they're still not protected.
Put a
Really,
travel ban.
they're not protected.
No, they're not protected because you don't know where these people are coming from. You don't know who they've been around. They could have left somebody home sick with COVID. You don't know.
That's
Hmm.
true.
So yeah, I think she could have done a lot more. Treat it like the riots. Shut it down. Leave people
Yeah.
stranded. She left all the people downtown stranded. People couldn't get home from work.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute.
Shut
You
it
know, I
down.
was down there. I was down there for George Floyd, and that's when they started raising the bridges. I
Hmm.
got in there and I was down there watching it.
Yeah.
She didn't give a damn.
I was that mute your
People
mic,
was just shocked.
April. I was down there. We were at a restaurant having dinner or whatever, just
Uh
having
huh.
a meal. And one of the waiters said, "Did you guys park at Standard because they're closing it?" We said, "What?" They were calling the restaurants, telling the restaurant owners to see if they had patrons who had parked in Standard parking lot because they were closing it down and people had to come get their cars because they were leaving so they could get home because she was letting the bridges up. So we
Wow.
had to take the street. We had to take Chicago Avenue and we got out just in the nick of time because she shut that down too. They had police barricading streets. They had what do you call them? Garbage trucks barricading
Garbage truck.
streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the streets and sanitation.
Yes, streets and sanitation trucks were blocking off streets so you couldn't turn down them and drive down them. It was a hot mess. She did that real quick.
Yeah. So, like you said, if she could do that,
As
then
long as this pandemic been going on, I'm sure she could have found she could have talked to the governor and had the interstate shut down so people from Indiana and Wisconsin couldn't come in here.
that's true.
Put some of them streets and sanitation trucks out there.
I mean, it's it's a good it's a good idea, and I personally think it could be done.
I think it can be done too, and I think she should do it. I really do. But I understand because people from Chicago work in Indiana, people from Indiana work in Chicago.
I go.
I get it. But now, if we live in Chicago and work in Chicago and we got to stay off work and stay at home, why can't they?
That's true.
You know? So I think she could do more, but I do think, and I'm not gonna lie, I like her. She is a pistol. I like her. Of course, you all know I don't agree with them immigration policies. All these damn Democrats is all for illegal aliens. I'm never gonna be with that. But I
Uh,
do like her. She is a pistol. And she just cracks me up because she just really does not give a damn.
I really believe she could do that, even though she may get some chaos behind it. But I
Well, of
think it could
course
be
she
done.
is. Of course she will. But when it comes to COVID, and it's, people are dying, people are sick, people are filling up hospital rooms and ICUs again.
Hmm.
You have to, you have to be a leader. You got to take leadership and do what's right for the people.
Right.
Is it true that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is aiming to make the vaccines mandatory? I have no idea. Um, I don't know who said. Now, Reese, wait. Now, go back to her "fuck you" comment because I missed that.
Yeah. Now you need to come in this panel. That's what she needs to do.
One lady was
But she had
everyone. Okay,
she
North
asked you some
Carolina
good
reported
questions.
5,000 more cases today. Yeah, well, we're reporting 100,000 a day, so North Carolina's doing good. I don't know if it's a company out of the country. You know what? 99% said something about coming to America yet. Um, I have no idea. I haven't heard that. Um, I'm still waiting to see how much Dr. Fauci has to do with these vaccines because I personally believe that between Dr. Fauci and his team, one of them is going to have a patent on one of these vaccines. Just watch what I tell you.
You think so?
Yeah.
Good point.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I believe that. I absolutely believe that. Because he knows darn well this vaccine isn't safe. He knows that. I mean, come on. He's the head doctor of infectious diseases. He knows better.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to make it mandatory. I really don't see how they can legally.
Hmm.
I don't see how they can legally. I'm sure there is a way. I just don't know it.
So has Joe Biden and Kamala Harris selected a COVID-19 task force.
Yeah, they've selected a task force. They have a task force in place, but Trump won, according to Trump, and he's not allowing their task force. He won. Joe Biden's fake news. He didn't win. Um, Trump isn't allowing. Oh, I just wish he would go away now. Trump isn't allowing uh any of his people to talk with Joe Biden's people.
Right. There's been
So
reports that Trump haven't even showed up to the meeting lately.
he's not going to the meetings for what? He don't want to see Joe. He don't want to see Joe's people because he believes he won. He thinks Joe is a thief. Joe has stolen his election. So he's not going to go sit down with the thief and all the thieves in the temple. No, he's going to court and he's going to have this election overturned. He won. Damn it.
Oh, wait a minute. Where did my wheelchair go?
That's what he says every day on Twitter. He sends out emails.
Did
I
somebody come take
won.
my wheelchair?
Okay, Donald, you
Okay.
won.
So, April, do you have any questions?
Okay, DJ Chuck, do you think COVID-19 was designed to kill people because the country is overpopulated?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't. I feel like COVID-19 is a disease that Trump and other people knew about.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the fact that he didn't want to put the American people on panic mode, which is understandable, but I do think there should have been a nationwide shutdown.
Absolutely. Agreed. And I do, I understand him not wanting to put people in panic mode as well,
Yeah.
but I think he took it a little bit too far because
Okay.
he just basically tried to deny that COVID was serious.
Yeah.
And I think that was a mistake, you know,
Hmm.
because, there's a way to inform people of the seriousness of a situation without panicking them, you know?
Right.
I just don't think he knew how to do that. So he made light of it a lot of times, you know, and his stupid followers just believe everything that comes out of his mouth. It's like they don't have a brain. And now,
Yeah.
I'm a Trump supporter, but he lost. You need to concede, pick up your marbles, and go back to wherever the hell you came from. It's over now. you know, it's over now. He
So
sent
what?
out an
I
email
mean,
the other day. He sent out an email the other day. Said, I'm not going anywhere. Yes, the hell you are. Wait till January 20th. If they got to carry you out kicking and screaming, you going.
I mean, besides the vote, the ballot being counted, right?
Hmm.
What is his legal team saying that the main reason why he hasn't succeeded?
They're not saying because there is nothing to say. Oh, let me tell you what he said though. His legal team said he claims this is so funny to me. He tweets that all of the 13 legal challenges that they brought that got thrown out of court,
Hmm.
he says those weren't his. Those were people who witnessed the corruption. What?
How?
Exactly. How can you go to court as a private citizen and file paperwork, a lawsuit against an election that you weren't even in? Where they do that at?
That's not even in the amendment of the Constitution.
That's what he says. He says those were not his lawsuits. They're coming with the big one. It's coming. And the election is going to be overturned.
So
At
he's
this
gonna
point,
so his legal team is gonna present that to the Supreme Court.
well, he ain't got to the Supreme Court
Lady
yet.
Leisure be having me cracking up.
What did I do?
No, I'm
Wait,
saying the way
did
you
you
say stuff.
did you
I
all
be
see? Wait, this kills me. This cracked me up. Y'all know I don't watch TV, but occasionally I watch the news. Why was Rudy Giuliani? Did anybody see Rudy Giuliani on TV
I
today?
did. I saw him like 2 hours ago on TV.
Did you see the dye running down his face?
well,
TJ,
he
come
was
on now.
crying.
No,
No,
he was having a little, breakdown.
uh, he was having a little moment to himself.
Yeah, he was having a moment and he was sweating. He was so upset. He was sweating. And girl, he had dyed his hair black and the dye was running down his face on both sides of his face.
He's
Girl, no.
absolutely correct.
I
Yes,
promise. I promise. I
they
promise.
showed it
I
on
said,
April.
Lord, thank you for having this TV on at this moment. And I walked past it.
They showed it on Inside
That
Edition.
that was the funniest shit I have seen in a long time.
All
Like
that money
Rudy,
he got, he had dye running down his face.
girl,
Yes, on both
yes,
April,
on both
April, on
sides of
both
his
sides.
face.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
running way down to his cheek, girl.
Running down his cheek
But
like
wait,
water.
did you all see Trump the other day? He
I
done got
didn't.
him a new hairdo. His hair is now white with black streaks on the side. I guess him and Judy we got the hair done. I promise. Trump's hair is like a platinum blonde. It's white, white, and he got a black streak going down each side of his hair, and it's cut. So y'all got to check out Trump shit. He doing it. I guess next week his hair might be all black. I don't know. I'm just saying. Where you get some black ass streaks from on one side of no, it's on both sides of his hair, but where you get black streaks from? It's just a black streak going down the side of his hair on both sides, and his hair is pure white,
That
and
was right.
it's cut
That was
much closer.
that was embarrassing. That was
Rudy
embarrassing.
didn't. But wait, Rudy didn't even know that was dye. He thought it was sweat because he wiped the sweat from the side of his face and wiped his damn mouth. I said, "Oh, you nasty."
Yeah, he did take
He
the what was that, like a
yes,
napkin or a handkerchief or something?
he had a handkerchief. He wiped one side of his face, then he wiped his damn mouth. I said, "Oh, you nasty.
Oh my
You
God.
gonna have COVID for real."
And did you notice nobody behind him had on the mask?
None of them wear masks. Do you ever
Nobody
see
that was
anybody with
standing.
Trump? You ever see anybody with Trump with a mask on?
No.
No. They don't wear masks. That's why all of them got COVID now.
Wow.
His wife never has on a mask. And she really needs to wear a mask because foreigners catch shit. She needs to really wear one. For real.
You're right. You're
But
absolutely correct.
Trump said, "Damn it, I won. I ain't going nowhere. I
Oh, he
won."
going some. Oh, he going somewhere.
Yeah, I told him shit. You now, wait a minute,
He
but what you know what was funny to me because we were talking about because every year he goes to Mar-a-Lago for the holidays and he leaves around Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving and he stays to after the New Year. And I
mm,
told everybody, I bet you he don't go this year. Now this has been his tradition all his adult life, right?
right.
They announced today he's not going to Mar-a-Lago. I know he's not, because he's trying to hold on to the White House. He's scared if he leave, they're gonna pack his shit. He can't go nowhere. He gonna stay right in that White House. And he
But he
gonna
has to.
overturn
But
this election.
Lady Evolute, he has to come out of the White House at some point. He
He
has
gotta
no
come out.
choice.
He has to come out by noon, January 20th. No, he has no choice. He lost. He can say he won all he wants to. He lost. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to get the courts to not allow the votes to be certified
Okay.
because if the votes aren't certified, there is no president.
Right.
So that's what he's trying. That's his big lawsuit now that he's talking about. That's coming soon. Stay tuned. He won.
Right. If they're not certified, then there's
Yeah,
no
they right.
there's no elected president.
Exactly. So he's going to court now to try to get them to stop them from certifying the votes like really Trump. And he's begging people for money and for the defense. Hey, he got a defense fund too, Dolly. Trump got a defense fund like R. Kelly girl. He does.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I just look. I'm a Trump supporter. I get all the emails. He has a
Oh my
defense
God.
fund. I saw that. I died laughing. Yes, he has a
Okay,
defense
Trump,
fund. If you
you
could just
lost. You
contribute
gotta leave.
$5, I'm like, dude, I supported you, but I never contributed a penny. I don't give no man my money. Whew, unless it's you, Jesus. hmm I'll give it to Jesus. You're gonna have to come and get it though. I don't give it to the priest, the preachers, none of that.
Oh my God.
Well, I'll give my church money.
I
Yeah,
I give. I take that back. I will give them money if I am moved to give them money. If
yeah,
there is something going on that I want to contribute to or I want to support, I will give
Mhm.
money. I'm not paying tithes to nobody. I don't do that
yeah, yeah. Well,
because
you know,
just where you can take me to the Bible and try to make me
Mhm.
believe Jesus said, that ain't what Jesus said. Jesus said, bring me your excess. That's what the Bible says. Your excess. He didn't
oh,
say give me 10% of your earnings before you pay your rent. He said bring me your excess. So now if I don't have no excess, you can't get nothing. Right or wrong.
That's true.
If all
somebody
my
that took
money
my
goes,
wheelchair. I looked up. I don't even have my wheelchair here no more. I'm Lord, I'm sorry. Keep on going. But
okay,
um, but
mute
I
your
know
phone and go find your wheelchair.
no. What no, I'm fine because I'm
Okay.
right here by the gate.
Oh,
But I
okay.
said shoot, or they didn't even took it or somebody sitting in it. So uh, they can have it. I'm not graded. I'm not gonna be no Negro today. They can
Oh.
they can have
Mm.
it.
Not
Yeah,
today. Well, she
yeah,
she
I'm not with.
outside. She on her good behavior.
Yeah, yeah.
Where's B? Where's B? Do she have any questions at all?
No, I don't know where B is at. Yeah,
B
she
was
was on
in here.
earlier
Yeah.
with with the brothers. Um, yeah, yeah. She's been taking a little break, studying the Bible, but she'll be back
Okay,
soon. Yeah,
okay.
I hope so. I really
yeah.
do miss her.
I
I
know. I
really
miss
do.
B. That's a yeah,
She has some really great commentary. She really does.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And so, does anybody know what happened with Bobby Brown's son?
No, they all I read was that there's, as far as they know, there was no foul play is what they're saying, but we don't know what happened to him. I prayed for Bobby yesterday. I mean, my God, his children just dropping like flies. That
Yeah,
was his first child.
yeah. That was people were saying
Do
on
they have
Facebook.
any idea? Like, was he found dead?
Yeah,
Suicide? Yeah.
he was found dead in his house. He
From
was
what?
found. They haven't said that. We don't know.
We
They
don't
didn't
know.
say.
They getting inside.
They just said that he was found dead in his home, and from what they're being told, they don't suspect foul play.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Who knows?
Only
Yeah.
28 years old. That is
If, if,
just,
even though April, there was people on Facebook saying that it's foul play, which I don't believe, but
well, we don't know. We don't have
we
any
don't know. Yeah.
information. People speculate. They say things.
Yeah.
It's
That's true.
social media.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
you,
Exactly.
the authorities come out and say something, or his dad comes out and says something, we don't know. Well, we can't listen to Bobby either, because he said somebody killed Bobby Christina too. So we can't listen to Bobby.
Right,
I
because
But
he
pray
was
for him.
trying to say
that boy
that
killed Bobby
that boy
Christina.
killed her. No,
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
that
she
girl.
I
OD. Drug
I
She
pray
addict. She
for
was
him.
a
OD'd.
drug addict. She was a drug addict. They were all drug
I,
addicts.
I pray for him. I hope he get answers. Um, he's one of
Yeah,
my
I pray
favorites.
for him too.
He
I can't
he
even imagine losing a child, let alone two. Oh my God.
yeah, he's one of my favorite R&B male singers. So
Mhm.
and of course April knows who's number one.
Yeah,
But I hate it for him.
I do
yeah. I
too.
hate it
I
because
do too.
he got such a bad rap for being with Whitney. You know, what
Well,
happened to Leah?
that's because you know,
No, I'm just
Whitney
saying
had a
they blamed him.
persona. Yeah, people blamed him, but honey, people didn't know Whitney. Whitney
Yeah,
probably turned him on to drugs.
yeah,
Whitney had been a drug addict. People just didn't know it. They saw her as this,
yeah. They
Wow.
they
had
they
her as the perfect goody two shoe girl.
exactly, and she was anything but.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
But that was her business. But they idolized her and put her on this pedestal that she just didn't belong on. So when she
Wow.
got with somebody where she could be who she was, oh, it's all Bobby's fault. Girl, bad.
Yeah.
Because when she was when they put her and Eddie together, Whitney and Eddie Murphy, when the industry put them together. When they put Eddie and Whitney together, Eddie really liked her, but he didn't like the fact that she got high and drunk all the time. So that's what messed them up. Her getting high and
yeah,
drunk all the time.
yeah,
And then, she liked women. She always had a girlfriend.
yeah.
Mm.
And that
So,
is the truth. Yeah, that is the truth. You know,
absolutely.
Mm.
That is the truth. Yeah, because I can remember this girl I went to high school with, and she could sing pretty good. And you figure I graduated. I was supposed. They graduated in '80. I graduated in '79 because I graduated in 3 years. And
Damn, I didn't even do
she,
that.
she yeah, I graduated in 3 years. She
I'm
um
mad.
she um she went out there probably in about 85, 86. Um, she was supposed to been having a voice coach and stuff. That girl
Uh-huh.
didn't last a year. She came back. She said, much as I want to be a singer, she said, I can't do all the stuff they ask me. And she told us then, and she said, and Whitney Houston, she like women.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, they all knew it. They knew it. They know that woman ain't lying. Yeah.
Yeah, they all knew. You remember when she got engaged to Bobby, and they used to fight publicly. Robin and Bobby used to fight publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so Whitney introduced Bobby to that fast life?
Yeah.
I I'm not.
Only thing
She
Bobby
introduced them
Brown
to
did
crack.
was
She
smoke
introduced
weed.
them to crack. Yeah, Bobby smoked weed and he drank.
He
Bobby didn't do
smoked
hard
weed and
drugs.
drank.
Right.
Yeah.
Bobby didn't do hard drugs.
She introduced him to the cocaine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
her brother turned her out
Turn
because
her out.
the
Right.
the
He
brother was
said
on,
so.
I think it was Oprah, and he told her, he said, Mama, I'm the one. And you know
Yeah.
that old that and that woman, her mother. And I said, look at that hateful, miserable old hag still living. She, always she knew what was going on. But
Well, of course she knew what was going on because remember when she tried to have the intervention?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
She went to Whitney's house. Girl, I can't say it. I'll tell you when we get off of here. But anyway,
yeah, yeah,
I want the Illuminati coming to get me. I've been good
yeah,
so far.
yeah,
I will stay good. Her mom went to her house with the police to do an intervention.
Mm-hmm.
And Whitney told her if she did not leave her house, she would take Bobby Christina and she would never see them again.
yeah,
So, yeah, everybody knew. And,
yeah,
especially when she was so far gone that you could tell, because see, the thing was, people couldn't tell because she didn't look like a crackhead at first. She was always a thin girl,
Okay.
yeah, honey. But when she did that Michael Jackson thing,
baby. And look, and they put pounds on her. Now you imagine that. She looked like a skeleton on TV, but they
Yes,
had
I
put 10,
me,
15 pounds on her on the camera.
yes I cried when I saw that
mm-hmm,
And she was high out of her mind.
because I couldn't
And
believe that he actually let her come on national TV like that.
she was still a big star. How were they going to stop her?
and
How were
Michael
they going
was
to
her
stop
boy.
her?
Michael Jackson was her boy. She know.
Wow,
How were they going to stop her?
that's true.
And it was very sad. When I cried when they did that doggone reality show. What was the name of that reality show her and Bobby did? It was supposed to be Bobby's reality show. Whitney wasn't even
Okay.
supposed to be on the show, okay?
Uh-huh.
Being Bobby Brown, that was the name of it. Being Bobby Brown.
Yeah, being Bobby Brown.
They
Oh,
did a reality. Bobby was very familiar
oh,
here in New York, Harlem, to be exact,
oh.
along with Nippy and Robin. Yeah,
Hey, wait a minute. We got somebody that's did comments,
yeah.
so I'm gonna.
Bobby did more than drink and weed when he got with her. Bobby didn't do hard drugs. Whitney turned Bobby out.
Welcome to the panel, Shannon.
Okay, okay, Sharon. I can believe that. I can
Yeah,
believe that. Little Bobby from the initial finding looks like it will be much like Kim Porter. Okay, I know the name. I can't. It's not registering though.
that was Puff Daddy's baby mama.
Yeah, Kim
What
Porter
happened to
was.
what happened to Kim?
She was
How did she
found
Yeah,
dead
die?
too.
somebody. I don't even know what my wheelchair.
How did
She was
Kim
found.
die?
She was found dead, but I don't know exactly how. What happened with that?
Bob was very okay. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, absolutely. Because Robin was always around, baby. Whitney didn't go nowhere without Robin. Shit.
I mean, you're right though. You're right.
Okay, ma'am, ma'am, I had a wheelchair. Somebody took it or it's gone. Okay, but
Mute your mic, April. Mute your mic.
Put her in rehab. Dick Gregory was a part of that first intervention. She said he was mean to her. They put her in a soft rehab. Oh wow.
Wow.
But the thing with putting people in rehab, if people do not want to be clean, all the rehab in the world is not going to help them. You can want a person to go to rehab and you can think they need rehab, and they probably do 9 times out of 10. They do need rehab. But if they're not willing to be clean, and if they don't want to be clean, as soon as they get out of rehab, they're going to get some crack.
That's true. That's how a lot of people end up relapsing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing. City council is about to vote. I'm sorry, I'm reading a text message on the 2021 budget that spends $4.5 million a day on police. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all.
She said,
I'm into all types of stuff. I just got a text saying that the city council is going to vote on the CPD's budget. Yeah, they need to cut that budget. They spend
yeah,
4.5
Shannon
million
said
a day on police for what?
she said they have the autopsy secret on Kim, but they are saying a cough and possible pneumonia.
Oh, okay.
So are those the actual reasons? So those are the reasons how she died?
Well, I guess people do die from pneumonia. Pneumonia is very serious,
Yeah, that's a serious um, illness.
especially if you don't get treated.
Right. Yeah. It,
no,
that,
no, it's okay. I'm fine. I'll just be a little slow. Yeah, I'm gonna be a yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, pneumonia is worse than having the flu.
Yeah, and then she was at home with pneumonia, and I guess she hadn't been to a hospital or whatever.
Okay.
And see, your lungs can fill up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. It that infects people immune system.
Um, mm,
Excuse me.
But I hope
I
Bobby
what
w-
Brown gets
time
some.
is it
I
when
hope
you get a little?
I hope Bobby Brown gets some answers about his son.
Okay.
I hope
Oh,
he does too. I really do. I really prayed for him today because that is a
okay.
terrible, terrible thing. I can
Yeah.
only imagine. I pray every day that nothing happens to my children, even though they
Yeah.
grown. You
Right.
know, you should not outlive your children. You just shouldn't. It's just not natural.
Yeah. We have to pray for all of our loved ones,
Mm-hmm.
Your
especially during this.
girlfriend got the autopsy, then you know the goods. Then drop the deeds. Sharon? Sharon, drop
Yeah.
them deeds, baby.
Okay. Yeah.
Drop those
Um,
deets, Sharon.
we
We want to know.
we
Look. We can have a little gossip session.
hey, I
Uh,
mean, at the truth radio, we talk about anything.
I want to talk about this autopsy. Shoot, I need to know.
What
Was it
happened?
pneumonia? Was it not pneumonia?
That's a good question.
Hmm.
The people want
Let's
to
see
know.
what. Look here, yeah. Inquiring minds want to know. Listen, wait a minute. I'm trying to think of what's associated with. Oh, not HIV, not AIDS.
Ooh, no, not that.
They die a lot from pneumonia too. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Cause see, AIDS don't kill you. It's the diseases associated with it to kill you. You know.
that's true. But
Wow.
but we need to know.
Sharon, I appreciate the love, baby, but I need the deets.
We need
Oh,
some
okay.
answers
You're right. You're right. You're right. You know what? See, when we gossip, we forget all about the children. You're absolutely correct.
about the children and money.
Al B needs to go sit. So he ain't sure of shit. He need to go sit down, not sit down. He need to go sit down, like your grandma from Alabama used to tell you. Go sit down somewhere.
And you better not make no noise.
Okay, better not. But you know what, guys? This has been a really great live. April, how long do you have before your flight? I thought you were supposed to get your flight at 6.
Is she still there?
hey, yeah, I've actually gotten on the plane now. I can always leave if y'all want to keep talking.
She
Um,
done boarded the plane. We don't even know it. Ain't that something?
Wow.
so, but I won't land for an hour and a half. So y'all gonna keep
Well,
talking for an hour and a half. I'll
we are
talk to y'all
not.
later.
We are going. No, 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 no.
Oh,
April. She just gonna make us talk for an hour and a
Oh.
half. April, we're gonna end this. Um,
no, look,
maybe
Sharon got some good information.
Sharon got some good information.
Yeah, Sam did
Wait
get some
a
good
minute,
information.
Al B was her husband. Al B was her husband. Wait a minute. Okay, back in the day, he was married to her. I remember when he came on and said that.
Okay.
Yes, girl, safe travels. But we're gonna end this. Let's let her
Okay.
get on her plane and get all strapped in and everything and put your mask on, wear your mask. I hope you got your bacteria wipes, girl. Don't touch them
Yeah.
damn trays. They filthy. Don't use them trays, girl. I meant to send you a can of Lysol. Spray every damn thing.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
really enjoyed this talk, DJ. I really have. It's always so much fun.
Yes, I
People
really
don't let me
enjoyed it.
talk at home.
I
That's why I
I hope
do
to
this.
do this. I hope to do this again.
We will. I'm sure we will. As soon as
Yeah.
April gets settled where she is tomorrow sometime. Well, no, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's a baby shower, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, in a couple of days we will do
Yeah.
this again.
Yes,
Okay.
I
we will.
appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Sharon,
Thank
yes, you
thank
must
you.
come back, darling. You must.
Thank you all for listening.
Yes, thank you all for listening, and we're gonna all bid you adieu, everybody. Mask up, stay safe.
Okay. Peace, y'all. All right.
All right.
All right.
Safe travels, baby. I'll talk to you in a
All
minute.
right.
All right.
All right.